everybody, and welcome back to Super League Live. I want to thank everybody for staying tuned here. We've had a lot of technical difficulties today. Apologize for the issues. It's been a hellacious time over here, so we do appreciate everyone sticking with us. And thank you for tuning into the Super League as always. This is our last Super League Live of the group stage, technically, because next week we'll have a little bit more of an abbreviated session potentially, as we don't know what the streaming is going to be for next week with the stream game pack. So we'll see if we will have an episode next week, but this is the last one currently scheduled. Joining me is Art, and we'll go to Art real quick. Art, week 4 was wild. Week 5 coming up. Thoughts on some of the guys that have a chance to make it, and everybody's still in the hunt except for one guy, which is Toaster guy, so nothing's changed.
Yeah, basically, the tables had turned for certain people. Certain people have gotten into contention. A lot of things have been now gone insanely crazy, especially for those who thought we're going to make it in that aren't in yet. They are still barely almost got a foot into the door. Not completely in though yet.
Well, the door is starting to turn shut now at this rate. We're only on potentially 2 or 3 more short nights, and we'll know the field. Now, we are, like I said, experiencing some delays for Week 5 scheduling. We don't have every game. However, everything else is moving steady. Graphics are made and stories are... Oh, your thoughts on, before we get to the Week 4 coverage, who impressed you the most this week?
Out of all this, just the amount of chaos that I could say that Week 4 provided. It's made now the group stage very, very interesting on all aspects. And I can't just put like one player up on that sort of on the highest mantle here on who did great.
All right, well, let's get to it. Let's get to those Group A standings and results. We'll start it off with Group A, as you see on the screen. We'll begin with a game that I did not see, but it was a classic game to some people here. Gon versus Nick. Gon destroys Nick. I mean, nothing Nick could do. He was basically a sitting duck. Takes the win. Big 6-2. I don't really got much to say, Art. This was just a Gon dominant class. He seemed just to control the cards. Was not there for the game, really. Thoughts on Gon winning, because I didn't stream any of these. But what it just appears was just a dominant win. Thoughts on
it? It's just been the same thing Gon has done since he took that first loss. He got on his horse, he got into the saddle, and he got the job done. That it's no question that he was able to get to this point. And now he now gets to enjoy the last week coming up. Get to sit on back. Nick couldn't really have a fighting chance, and that sucks for him because all he needed to do was get a win. All he needed was a win, and unfortunately that didn't happen. But yeah, Nick just couldn't do much. Gon's just been that same player. Okay, but we'll see what the situation is for Nick going into the next week.
You got me?
Yeah, I got you. Oh, wait.
I don't understand. Yeah, I just lost internet again. No idea. Like I said, been a weird night. Don't know what's going on with a lot of things behind the scenes. Apologize. I did hear what you were saying, but then my mic wasn't picking up. So, who knows? Could be an OBS thing. I'll just deal with that later. Now I'm getting a phone call. 1 sec, Art. Take the wheel for now.
Yeah, I guess we'll go into the other Group A matchup, which was Lara Caesar, and somehow the dream is not dead yet for Caesar. Caesar somehow fights and survives against Lara. I didn't see this one, but I did see the result. Man, if things weren't even crazier now than what it was, Lara, I guess, was trying to ease on the gas a little bit, kind of hard fought there. But Caesar not backing down from a fight, and it is able to survive and have an opportunity to maybe, just maybe, hold a comeback. But Lara, hopefully, there is no problems. I think it's just, as I said, got off the gas a little bit, and it just cost Lara. Lara just had nothing else to do.
Yeah, once again, did not see any of these games. Had to really study it a little bit. Just Caesar seemed to have a little bit more control of that methodical style and seemed less aggressive. Actually seemed patient with the cards for once. He deserved that win. I did say he would win that game, or I had a feeling he would win that game because he needed it. And with a Nick loss, I mean, that's big for him.
Yeah, because now that makes things really close there for that crucial third and final spot in Group A.
The guy that was on the bye was Brad. He's still in the hunt hard, but at -6 and a point, and Caesar now ahead. He's gonna need a.
He's gonna need a pull. He needs to pull something huge here, and I highly doubt that. No offense.
He's gonna have to somehow beat Caesar, which right now looks hot, and then hope that Nick does not beat Lara or even gets a tie. And even if Nick, let's say even if Nick loses and they both lose, let's say Nick loses 5-3, Brad wins 5-3. That ain't gonna do anything because it'd be -2 to -4, and Nick would have the tiebreaker on GD. So Brad's got to have a big week or he's done.
If Brad's gonna have a big week, Caesar's gonna have a little bit of hope, and we'll go over that here in a bit. Nick though is on thin ice, really. I'm gonna Lara, not so much on thin ice, but it's gonna be a little choppy, if I would say. Gondo is gonna have the best seat out of everyone. He gets that last crucial bye, and he's just going to be able to relax, get ready for the knockout stage, and just go from there. So,
yeah, Gon, we'll see him in October, and we'll see all these guys. I think we'll see Gon more mid-October. Nothing really to say about him. He advanced. Basically, he's got the top spot on lock, unless Lara goes out there and beats Nick 7-1. That's the only way he loses it, Gon. So unless a 7-1 occurs, Gon will be your Group A winner. Now remember how it works, is 7 and 8 doesn't really matter until we get to points. So if we started today, Gon would actually, I believe, actually get the 7th spot. But remember, as we go to Group B, Acosta is kind of on fire. He's been the story as we go to Group B. Now, I did not hear about what happened post game. I did look at it. I'm going to be straight with you, Ard. I have no problem with what Acosta did. I don't know what happened. Like I said, don't know. You were at that game. But all that talking at the end, the guy's been through hell. Right? He's never had a win other than, one Fitzwater win his whole career?
Yeah.
And he's now turned it around to where, let's face it, he's been just the man this Super League. And in my opinion, has been the number one player. I know Gon, but Gon has a law. This guy's 3-0 and has been dominant. Took care of background. Basically, if one appears, is 5-2. Last game didn't matter, and he just found a way. Thoughts on Acosta, because he's the story. As for background, with Toaster eliminated and a shocking result of goal, really going to take a miracle for him not to be in regardless. Thoughts on Acosta were the story, though.
Acosta, look, just been that dominant. And here's the thing: I kind of knew this was going to happen with Acosta. Really, Acosta, I thought, gonna keep the momentum going. It was able to try to lock up that spot into the knockouts, and it just proved it. Now I'm not gonna go into the whole after the game antics on both guys. I think Acosta's just gonna forget it. I think Acosta easily will forget about it. Background, I think he's gonna be that's gonna be in the back of his mind, and he's gonna hope he gets another chance to go after him. But we'll keep watching that.
Well,
But
that's the problem, right? Background is a player known for a lot of things have to go exceptional or else it's game. And I don't know. It's not an easy week for background coming up because Monkey, who beat Varigold, incredible. Absolutely incredible. To take care of Varigold, not easy. Monkey's moving on, Arden. Kind of the same thing, though, here is unlike Gon versus the field, Monkey Acosta, depending what happens, is Monkey can beat background and he gets a good enough a result, as in probably a 6-2, and Acosta were to lose 6-2 because Acosta's that tiebreaker, then maybe he can get the top of the group seed. But I think Acosta, is going to be able to clinch Group B regardless. Monkey's moving on. Gold, I think it's the end of the line, Art. I know there's a chance, but you can't lose to Monkey. You can't lose to... I'm sorry, not Monkey. I'm sorry. Toasty. I mean, this was a guy I had said... I did say Toasty would play spoiler and get a tie at mid. He won the game outright. And for Varigold, that's just an inexcusable loss. Especially since you would say coming in, I'm going to destroy him. You got destroyed. Thoughts on Varigold now because, yeah, background's reeling, Varigold's reeling, Toasty, nothing to really play for. He's gone. Acosta's red hot. Monkey coming off a bye clinch, perfect bye week. He's red hot now. Who gets this last spot in terms of momentum, Art, before we get to predictions? And your thoughts on Gold BC? Because they're both in a weird spot, despite being last two.
Let me go back to first off that game. Man, Gold got taught a lesson. And that lesson is learn to keep your mouth a bit quiet. Here's the reason why. Gold, he did say he was going to destroy Toasty. Well, looks like the shoe was on the other foot. Big time. And Toasty just somehow, even if he was about to be on bye for week 5, decides just to almost put the proverbial nail in the coffin for Gold. That might have just ruined Gold's chance of making the knockout. And that's the problem here with Group E. Because now background, he's in the driver's seat here. He has the keys to his own destiny now. All he needs to do is real simple, and we'll go over his scenarios in a bit. But what he needs to do is real simple, and it's not even rocket science.
Yeah, just avoid disaster. Yeah, keep going.
It's not even rocket science. It is quick to the point here on what could happen.
you just avoid disaster if you're background. For gold, you gotta you gotta do something special because the problem is I just don't know if Acosta's the kind of guy to let up, Art. I mean, he's going for history. No one has ever went 4-0 in group stage. No one. Not JT.
Yeah.
Not the dominant run of Yepes. They went all 3-1. Right? I think JT might have actually went 3-1. And he might have actually never lost, but he had a tie. 10 points. But if Acosta wins that game, he'll set a league record 12 points. And if he wins big enough, I know someone can go 4-0 next year for sure. But if he gets a 14 GD or something big, or somehow he gets a 15 GD or something ridiculous, right? Not going to be beat. That's going to take a while to get beat. Now, we don't know the format. We did say the format's changed. We don't know what the format's going to be next year. It might be a completely new era of format. We don't know. There could be more games in the groups. We really don't know what's going on. So, this could be the last group stage where someone has a chance to go 4-0 because we don't know what's going to happen next year on at least the Super League format. So we'll see if Acosta can make history. That's going to be the one storyline to follow for this group.
Yeah, I just think with how that might be the storyline because I think pretty much almost Group B is locked with the spots.
Yeah, it's going to take... Varigold has to beat Acosta. And if Varigold... Here's the problem. If Gold can't even beat Acosta, then that background monkey game is useless. Or if Gold and Acosta tie, monkey's in, background, that's a useless game. Group B is pretty much down to the mercy of what Varigold can do. Because now, if Acosta wants to play percentages, and we saw Nam do this last year, tune it up for Week 5 and get ready for Super League, round 12, okay, but I think last year was such a unique circumstance where, it's a unique circumstance where the days were so late, the days shifted, no one really knew what was going on, so we'll see what happens. Much more of a comprised environment now. We don't have a schedule, so let's go to Week 5. Let's go to the preview and the predictions as well as the scenarios. So we'll start it off with we'll do the games, right, and then we'll go into the scenarios. We're going to start it off with Group A, of course. Remember, Gon is on a bye just before we start the Group A preview. He's on a bye. No problem there. Ready to roll for who knows when. Probably sometime in October. Let's get to it, Ardo. Group A, Week 5. It begins right here. Starts it off with Nick versus Lara. This is going to be an interesting game. Lara really has a lot to... Nick has a lot to play for. Lara doesn't. Here's Nick's scenarios. If he wins, welcome in. If he doesn't, he needs a tie and a Brad win. So if he gets a tie and a Brad win, he's good. Now, he can get a tie plus a Brad Caesar tie. That could work. Or he gets a lost non-sweep. Right, so it's not an AO, 8-0, and a Brad Caesar tie. Or he can lose 3-5 plus a Brad 5-3 win. That's a whole lot of mouthful, basically. He needs to just hope that Caesar doesn't win. Right, if Caesar loses, then Brad has to basically not win the game more than 6-2. And he can basically lose 3-5 in an ironic way where it's tied. I think he's got the road record too. So, yeah, this seems like a lot to play for both, but more so for Nick. Lara, on the other hand, just needs a win or tie, a loss plus Caesar tie / loss, or a loss plus Caesar win. Caesar's going to have to go out there and sweep, basically, or 7-1 somebody. I don't think this game... I know the CPU says Nick's going to win. I'm going to just say it's going to be a tie. I just don't see a world where Lara is going to lose this game. I think Nick gets the tie. The question will come down to that last game. I'm going to go with Nick ties with Lara. Lara's in. Nick will sweat it out for another day. Who do you got here?
I'm going to agree with you and say tie. I I think here's the thing. If I'm going to go back to the how the points look, and here's the thing. Lara would just need that tie. I think that's all Lara's going to think about is just getting 4 wins. Ned's going to play too much aggressive, but then once Lara gets that fourth win in the game in those eight, but somewhere in those 8 games, Lara's not going to force it. Nick will probably at least somehow tie it at the end.
Well, if Nick ties it, he would hope that Caesar would not pull it off. Let's see what we got. Brad Caesar. For Brad, he's got to win the game. He's got to win, and he's got to hope Nick just loses disastrously, as I said. Caesar, on the other hand, it's simple. Win, Nick tie or loss, he's in. Or he somehow can get a win. Nick will win big, and he'd have to make up plus 12. Let's keep in mind, if he makes up plus 12, it's going to have to be 7-1s going both ways. 7-1 for Jay, and then probably let me look here. Yeah, it's got, yeah. You know what? I don't even think I'll rely on that because he has to win 7-1, and then it's going to have to be a 1-7 going the other way or something like that. No, I think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think Caesar's gonna get in there personally on that. However, I think he gets in. I think he beats Brad. I think he's gonna beat Brad. I like the momentum. I know it says even, but Brad has just had a Super League to forget, and I don't know if he's gonna have enough. Even if he wins this game, Brad, Nick would have a tie on him. I think Caesar would have a little more to play for. I think Caesar gets that last spot over Nick. I'm calling it now. And it pulls a shocker. 2 wins in the last 2 weeks. That's the ultimate clutch moment where he's been nowhere, but he finds a way. What do you think, Art?
But how I put a tie in that first game, you know what? I said the dream was going to be dead. The dream will live on for Caesar. Caesar's moving on to the knockouts. I say Caesar wins 5-3.
What a story that would be for Nick and Brad, the two guys, if they are eliminated, the two guys that were in that week 1 controversy and they neither get advancement. That would be...
that controversy's going to live on.
Yeah, that'd be poetic justice for some, and then for others it'd be like, what the heck? So, just shows you every game matters in this league. All right, now we'll go to Group B. This one, like I said, this group doesn't have the scenarios as much as Group A, but we'll run them down. Costa Gold, it's simple. Costa, he clinches the number 1 seed, or not number 1, the number 1 spot, basically by a tie, or just a tie, just a straight tie. I believe he has to, or it's either a tie or he wins, I believe. But that's if he can beat Gun's GD. Realistically, I don't think it's going to matter for him. He's already in. I don't think he cares. The bigger story is going to be, what does Varigold got to do? And, well, here's what Varigold's going to have to do. Varigold has to win this game, right? If Varigold don't win this game, that's all she wrote. But needs a background loss and has to make up 6 GD. I'm not seeing it. Acosta's been too good. Acosta 5-3. I think he's just too good in this format. No power play has made a difference, and I think the background monkey game is meaningless. Give me Acosta all day and knock out Gold, and Gold will be eliminated. What do you got, Art?
Well, let's see. Going by how the weeks have gone, it was on Acosta with the wins 5-3, 6-2, 5-3. I say Acosta wins and finish off the back and forth thing with a 6-2.
It's unbelievable what a story Acosta has done, man. He is definitely the definition of never giving up and always fighting for everything, and you got to respect it. I think he'll go down as one of the best stories of the year. Lastly, background. Well, it's simple for and Monkey. Monkey obviously Clarence background just simply can win or tie, uh, it can get a can win or even lose this game. He can have a goal tie or loss. He can even lose 3-5 and goal wins 5-3, and still would maintain it. Honest to God, I think Monkey is a good player, but with the amount of scenarios going on for both people, it's so hard to know if that game's even going to matter. So because of that, I think background and Monkey are just going to tie. I think it's the safe bet. I don't think either player is going to care personally. Because if there's nothing Varigo can do, right? If Varigo loses or ties Acosta, then this game is meaningless at that point. It's the same thing with, the Group A. There's a game that goes early and it's meaningless, and so be it. But I think it just ends in a tie. What do you got here, Art?
I'm going to go tie here. I'm just going to make it short, sweet, to the point. Here's the thing. If this game is meaningless after the result of the first game, then Background and Monkey both have nothing to lose and nothing to gain from it. So why even try to push it? You're both into the knockout stage. Just play to play. And with that, it'll end up in a tie.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's over for. I think it's over for Gold, unfortunately. Gold will be eliminated with Toasty. I expected Gold and Toasty to be threats. I really did. We both had Acosta moving through. You had Monkey, ironically. Did you get a perfect? No, you didn't. You had Toasty. Yeah.
I had Toasty, and he didn't do much.
Your predictions were Acosta, Monkey, Toasty. You got two of them right. I had no one right. Toasty, Gold, and Acosta, and that doesn't look good. Group A, I had, nobody.
What did I?
I have Nick, Brad, Caesar. One of them's got to go through, so that's one. You're going to get two of them through. Nick, Brad, gone. You did a better job predicting than me. I'll give you that. But I don't know. This kind of wrap it up before we get to the round of 12 preview a little bit. Like I said, we don't know if we're going to have another episode because of next week being a little delayed. I think group stage, I know Sanford made an interesting point about 8-0 or 8-0. The scenarios can be a little different in 8 games, and you can have a little bit more scenarios where things end early. I understand that. I'm just not sure if that's the case, though, in this league, because the way I look at it is everyone's so competitive. Everyone wants to be the best. And I'm just not sure if the 8 games has made a difference. If anything, I think it's just part of the package deal, and you have to respect it. Now, the only thing I'm going to say is this season, this Super League season, could there be improvements? Yes. Will there be improvements? Yes. Do I think some of the players got bad draws? Yes and no. Toasty, bad draw. 3 rematches, that ain't good. Nick and Brad, we knew those guys were both big personalities, and it cost them both in week 1. Only one of them is going to get through. I don't know. This is a, I guess, a bold take, but I really think we can improve the format a little bit in Super League, because now we're going to get to the round of 12, and it's pretty simple. Who do you think will play who? Because if Acosta wins, right, the group, let's say he gets to 10 points on a tie, he'll be the 7th seed. Presumably, Gon will be the 8th seed, right? That's no-brainer. Then the 9th seed, it could be Lara, it could be Monkey. Let's say it's Lara 9, right? Then Monkey, or no, it'd be Monkey 9, right? Lara would be 10, I believe, because it's an inverse. So Monkey would be 9. And then Lara would be 10. The last 2 spots, I believe it would be whoever had the most points, I believe. So it'd be, depends. It could be background. It could be Caesar. It could be Nick. that last spot's up in the air. Let's just say for the hell of it, it's Nick in background, right? And it'd be, I believe 11 would be background, I believe. Yeah. And then Nick would go into the 12th spot, I believe that's how it works. Against Andy, which would be a third-time rematch. My gosh. What's your thoughts on the round 12? Because Myth and Andy are coming back, but they're on an extreme layoff here. The last time they played was a long time ago. We're talking months ago. At this point, 2 months ago, and the guys even on a further bye are going to be off even more. Your thoughts on just Nick and Myth and Andy and what they're going to do? Because I'm not really sure where their heads at personally, and it could be a game where I personally think that whoever has a little more momentum, the key. I mean, whoever has a little momentum could be the key of getting the right opponent. It could be a little lady looking at who your opponent is really with the 5 versus 6 versus 11, 12. Thoughts on the round 12? Thoughts on Acosta's advancement, Monkey and Gunn, the 3 guys that are in. Thoughts on those guys as well.
Well, first off, to the 2 people who are awaiting their opponents, you better have taken your notes. You better have been taking your notes because time is almost up on your Bye Island part. So you better be ready to go. To the 3 people that have advanced, Acosta Monkey. Well, Acosta, it wasn't a surprise to see advance on. Monkey, good on him. Good on him to advance. Pretty safe to say. Monkey is keeping his season going and gone. Just having to be able to prove all the haters wrong, prove all the doubters wrong, and basically say, I'm not done yet. I'm not leaving. Don't count me out yet.
Yeah, I think with the format, though, back to power play, I think about what could be the answer. Don't know who would have the answer with power play. Statistically, I would actually think of the 3 people that advanced. Believe it or not, it's going to sound really wild to say this, but I think you almost have to give it to Monkey because Gon, we know he had that big T2 run, but he hadn't done anything in the whole season after that, and he did a little bit in T5, and then Costa we know is good in no power play, and we know he's good on power play too, but that could be interesting with him because he's struggled on higher tier games. Really, the best of 9 I'm not worried about, but it's just the best of 11. Remember the last time he played Vapor, he lost the lead. Did he learn? Right? Did he learn how to win games bigger? And then for Gunn, I'll say though, can he close out games too? Because he had some games in the Elite 8 and the final round where he couldn't close it out against G and ironically Andy. And I don't know. This is very interesting. Or who's going to advance? Who's going to get? I mean, is it going to be can we see a Acosta Lara rematch? Do we see Nick Andy round 3? Do we see Monkey play potentially a winner like Gunn? This is extremely, extremely hard to call. It's going to be an interesting next round. I think the guys on a bye, we saw last year that this was not the round where rust mattered because it's only 2 guys coming off. Andy is a good player. Myth is interesting, quick style. But this isn't the round I'm worried about for that. I think when we get to the Elite 8, how those guys come off the bye, because that's an extremely long way. You got to think about it. We're not tracking to finish this tournament, this round, this week by October 3rd. We still have one more game to be cassette, which would be Background's game. Don't know when that's going to be played. And then you're looking at maybe October 6th, we start up the next round, right? Or the 7th, maybe. And then the 7th, 8th, they play, 9th, 9th, 10th, 11th. And you're looking at, you're not going to see the Elite 8 guys till the 11th and 12th are. We're still 2 weeks away from seeing those guys. And how do you think the layoff could affect those guys? Because those guys come back They haven't seen the table, but they do have the one advantage of studying all tape. So thoughts on that? What do you want more, tape or the layoff? That's the last thing I'll ask before we move out of here.
I think you need to have that tape. I think you need to have everything involving having all the knowledge, having all your notes set for every single situation involving every single player. Because that is going to be the biggest possibility on trying to do well once we get into that part. Because, yes, you had the biggest layoff out of everybody, especially those into the round of 8. The round of 12, yes, you did have a little layoff, but not too much. This is where it's going to get really interesting here to see who's ready to go and who's not.
We'll find out in a couple weeks for them. We'll find out next week, very likely, for the round of 12. But we still have one more week of group stage, and Group A is absolutely high-drawn. Group B, going to need to see if Gold can do anything against Acosta. As of now, let's get to that schedule. Tomorrow we'll have Monkey Boy on the interview. That is going to be an intriguing time, to say the least. Should be a fun one there, 8 o'clock. Then, 2 games confirmed. Caesar will play his game against Brad at 4 o'clock on Thursday. That's going to be a fun one. Then we'll kick us off there. Then we'll have 9:30 Acosta Gold. We don't know right now what's happening with Background's game. We think Nick and Lara can try 7 o'clock Friday. Still waiting on that one to officially confirm. But as of now, those are your 4 games left. If for some reason we can't stream any game, we'll let you guys know. Monkey Background, potentially that game doesn't even get played, in the sense that or if it does get played, it might be moved off stream because it doesn't matter. Keep that in mind. But as of now, we have everything set. And for myself and Art, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you guys around. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Super League Live. We'll be back hopefully next week, depending on the schedule, with the round 12 preview and if week 5 wrap up. Should be a good end of the show, end of the Super League group stage. It's been a fun GS. One more week to go. Have a good one. Until then, we'll see you tomorrow for Monkey. Good night, everybody.